Hello YouTube family, this is Rev from my Rev It Up Mustang Fanatic Productions, and you know what time it is. Rev it up.
Is brilliant, my love is pure. I saw an angel, of that I'm sure. She smiled at me on the subway. She was with another man. I won't sleep on that, 'cause I've got a plan. You're beautiful, you're beautiful, you're beautiful, it's true. I saw your face in a crowded place, and I don't know what to.
Hey gang, this is Rev with Rev It Up Mustang Fanatic Productions, and we're still working with the 03 Mercedes C230 compressor, 1.4 liter or 1.8 liter 4-cylinder supercharged engine. To update you, we have put on, as you can see, new brakes and rotors, and that's all the way around. New brakes and rotors all the way around, and the brake wear sensor is that wire right where my finger is. See if I can get a good view of it. It's a little copper wire. Where's my finger? A little copper wire right here, and that connects into, it goes inside the brake pad, and that's a sensor. So we got that light off. There's the rear brakes and rotors on that side, and here's the driver's side. So we got brakes and rotors on it. We're gonna clean those rims up, but what we're working on now is okay, the power door locks on the key fob wasn't working, so I changed the batteries and they still wouldn't work. So there's a little red light here, and when you click on any part of it, it'll flash. That lets you know that okay, it's working. Now also in here, it uses an infrared signal to start the vehicle up, and when you press any button, you'll see the infrared on that also. and that will flash. Allowing that to work. Well, you couldn't see it, but it picks up on the camera. Now, the problem I was having, since the batteries in here working and the infrared light is working, because if that wasn't working, the car wouldn't start, I went to check for a fuse. And you got 3 fuse boxes on this. One's under the hood, on the driver's side, where there's a little cover, and you pull that off and you got your brake fluid there, and there's a fuse box there. And on the driver's side, on the door side, there's a panel, there's a fuse box there. And here's a fuse box in the trunk right here. So what I did, I got my test light and I ran through all my fuses to see which ones was working and which ones wasn't working. And I put my test light on one end and it lit up, and the other end it didn't, and that's very uncommon. So I pulled the fuse out and it was blown. So I put another fuse in there and it blew automatically, so I knew I had a short. So then the next thing you got to do is you got to find out what does that fuse run. And so that I got my diagram, which was in the door, the fuse box in the door, open up the paper, and this is my alarm, sound system, and horn, and power amp antenna, and inclination sensor. So I knew I was having problems with my power antenna amplifier because I only get a few stations. So my power antenna is over here, and I look down in here. Here's the 2 wires for the antenna, the green yellow ones, and here's the bottom antenna, and there's the top antenna. So what I found out, I don't have a power amp. So knowing that, I found this one was down underneath there, hanging on the metal. And anybody knows metal against metal is no good. So that's why my fuse was blowing. And so now I narrowed down the system. So I put another fuse in, and look at this. Door goes down, it locks, and it unlocks. So now my power door locks are working. So that's what the problem was. So now I put a 10 amp fuse in there. I can take that 10 amp out and put my regular fuse back in there, which is a 7.5 amp fuse. And the reason I put a 10 amp in there is because I didn't want to use up these new 7.5 amps that I brought. These things were expensive. So I put a common fuse that I have in there. So now that I solved the problem, first thing I got to do is go to Grand Strand Pull and Pick and find a antenna amplifier. And when I get the antenna amplifier, then that will solve everything. So now we'll put in fuse number 8. Oh, I got a 5 amp fuse. It's supposed to take a 7.5 amp fuse. The color kind of confused me. So let me get my 7.5 amp fuse. which should be this one. Yeah, 7.5. There we go. And while I'm at it, I'm going to get some electrical tape and seal that up so that doesn't short the system out anymore. Okay, the fuse didn't blow. So now I'm going to put electrical tape on that part. And it's secure, zip tied out of the way. It's not hitting any metal. And so this is zip tied. That's not going to hit any metal. So we can just close everything back up, and we'll have all that solved. We got a working power door locks, which is wonderful, because I hated taking this key and you gotta push this pin back, and then you pull that key out to open the door. But this starts the car. So now we can use the key fob to open up the doors and